Hey Harley, it's Coach Benlin here. Just breaking down some of your swings from our last couple of sessions. I put a bunch of the notes into a document like usual, and I'll send it over to you after the video. I tried to put it all on a kind of checklist for spring. So I think it's 7 or 8 things. Yeah, 7 things we really want to focus on. Not trying to do too much here. Not trying to overcomplicate it. Just to make sure we're watching these 7 things and making sure we have a successful spring. Get ready for the summer season. Um, Two main loops I kind of want to focus on here. And I think it's kind of a story of two different rounds. And I want to play them both and kind of walk through them and show you what I think is the difference for the success in one round versus some of the mishits in another round. I'll kind of go step by step here and break them down. Um, but overall, I really like what you're doing. It's my kind of swing. It's productive. You're not trying to do too much. You're balanced for the most part, and I think you're gonna have a huge spring. I'm very excited about it. So let me get into the document quick, and then I'll break down some of those loops, and I'll finish with a video and a little diagram as well. Two of the things that are really jumping out at me. One of them is gonna be a little hard to explain through video, but I could do a much better job in person. But the first thing that I'm seeing with some of your rounds where you're kind of struggling to square up the ball, and sometimes you do it more than others. But I put back shoulder tilt, and sometimes I think you're when you're attacking the baseball, you're kind of square with your shoulders, and they're on an even plane, and you're swinging downward to the front of the zone, and you're clipping the bottom half of the baseballs, and you're generating backspin. It's going straight up, and you're not really squaring them up. And on some different swings, when we have to approach baseballs differently depending on the height of the baseball and the inside and out of the baseball. Um, that top hand, and I've talked about this with you before. We want to attack it in an uppercut kind of fashion. We want to make sure that our elbows traveling tight to our body and we're finishing palm up out in front versus punching downward, right? Sometimes you're kind of, you start in your load with your hands high and you attack the front part of the zone and you come down the top hand like almost like a downward punching motion. We almost want to, I'm scared to say drop that back shoulder a little bit, but almost, you know, dip it a little bit and uppercut towards the front of the zone with a palm up finish. And this is something I could definitely do a better job of showing you in person. But I want to make sure that we're adjusting to balls and not just getting to the front of the zone. We want to enter the back of the zone with the barrel. And by keeping our elbow tight to the body and finishing palm up, I think it'll keep you, squaring up balls more consistently. So next time I see you in the next session, I definitely want to work on this and talk about this in person. But I want to put it on the list so that you could come in, ask me a question about it, and we can work on it in our next BP round. The second thing that I'm going to focus on, I'll go to the video with this one, is maintaining balance over our rear leg. Sometimes, and I'll show you the difference in one video, one loop versus the other video loop. Sometimes you're traveling forward and you're drifting forward as you track the ball, and you're crossing what I'm going to call the midline, and you're ending up almost on your front foot, and it's leading to a lot of missed hits, a lot of balance problems. I want to make sure you're avoiding drifting over that front foot, that you're staying balanced, you're maintaining balance over that rear leg after you load. And I'll show you in a second what I mean by that. Maintaining balance over the rear leg. Other things are really review. Make sure our hands are back in the load. When you have your hands back and you're maximizing separation, your front side's out and your hands are getting all the way back, as your front side comes down and you're ready to go hips and hands, you're very successful. Sometimes those hands don't travel all the way back and they stay even with the shoulder. So let's continue to work on this. Get the hands back in the load. I know that I did the drill where I put the high ball tee behind you and you knocked it off, with your hands back in the load and then went through your swing. And as always, avoid drift and drop with the hands, right? We like high hand path. We like being productive, right? Cutting the ball in half from the top, generating backspin and shooting gaps. Keep the hands back in the load. Then I put loading in the right places. I'm very big on this load where our back knee is inside that back foot, and we've talked about this in person. You have back knee bend, and you're loading and generating with your knees bent, athletic position, right? Building in that rear leg as your front side comes down. We're hovering, balance, being ready to hit. And one video you do a great job of this. the machine is giving you kind of timing issues, and you find a way to maintain your balance to stay back over that back leg, and you're going to see. I think you have a great round. I call that hover and hit, right? Right, balancing, tracking the ball, getting ready to go, planting the front foot down, and then finishing the swing. The Arenado drill we worked on, head down at contact, witness the point of contact, track it 60 feet, 6 inches, all stuff we've done on and we worked on, but we don't want to lose it. You did a really great job with the Arenado drill, finishing head down at contact, right? If you're working off a tee, hitting the ball off the tee, keeping your head down, looking at the empty tee after the ball leaves, especially when we get to live pitching overhand and for your spring season. All that movement stuff, all the off speed pitches, curveball, sliders, changes, it's going to move late, right? We want to key on the late movement. Six is also another piece of contact and after. Finish through contact, extend through three baseballs. Same message we've been preaching for probably 2 years with you now. Get your hands out in front, finish in that power V, palm up, palm down. Don't be satisfied with point of contact. Extend through it, right? And then the last piece, and I'll draw it up in a second on a little diagram. The approach piece, breaking the plate into thirds, recognizing when it's inside, recognizing middle, and outer half, living gap to gap, left center field gap, right center field gap, line to line. I think that you're going to be very successful if you're hitting early in the count, keying on fastballs, something you could drive below your hands, right? Spraying the gaps, not hanging around. I know you're pretty good at keeping your balance, and you could probably hit off speed pitching, better than most guys on your team right now. But let's hunt fastballs. Let's find the straight ones. Get to them early. Put that level swing that you're building right now on it, and just spray line drives over the infield all day. I think that's kind of your bread and butter for the spring season right now. But let me take what we have on this doc, kind of walk through the swings, and break it down a little bit more. So, two different videos here, two loops here that I really want to focus on. Let me open it up a little bit. Um, Here's one of them right here. I'll let it play through, and then I'll slow it down a little bit. What I saw here when I first was watching this and breaking this down, I saw timing issues. I saw balance issues. Um, you're going to see you're kind of heading over that front foot sometimes. Ground balls here, a couple pop ups. Slice the ball right there under the bottom half, drop your hands a little bit. But the main thing I think is timing. I think you're late right there. That's a decent piece right there. So if I'm breaking this down, I'm slowing it down a little bit. Let me bring it back. I'll choose this swing right here. Here's your load, top of your load right here, separation, and you can already tell. You see as your front foot comes down, the front foot landing right there is pulling you forward, and you're traveling over your front foot, right? So if I kind of stop at the top of the load right here, I'll draw on the screen. So if we're drawing right over a line over this kind of this rear leg right here, right? If this is going to be our balance point, somewhere along this line, right? Your foot's still in the air, top of your load. Let me get rid of this and play it through. Watch how as you track right there, this front foot's getting ready to land. Watch this front foot. And as it goes to land, it pulls you forward. Watch how you're leaving that line. So if I'm talking about that midpoint or that balance point, you see how you're leaving it and you're traveling onto your front foot. So when you go to engage the ball, look at the distance that you've covered, you know, drifting towards that ball. I mean, here's your balance point now, and it's a pretty big difference, right? So it's going to make things a lot harder for you if you're traveling over the front foot here. If we're going to kind of fix that, a lot of it has to do with the front leg. Do you see how you have bend in your front knee here? See that right there? What we want, if I'm going to draw it on the yellow line, we want to make sure we're locking up this front side by having a firm front leg, right? A straight front leg here, closing off that front side. You can't travel forward. If your knee is bent the way it is right here, I'll draw some arrows here. It's allowing the movement to head in this direction, and it's opening your front side. You're leaking power. So we want to watch a couple things here. Let me clear the screen. This front knee right here, on some of the swings that I saw you struggle with, because there's bend in it and because you're landing open, it's allowing you to travel forward. Now watch your hands come with it, drop down. Now you're all the way out in front right there. You're clipping the bottom half of the baseball. It's going to be an infield pop up, which is something that you don't really do too much. But I noticed the timing issues here. So the main thing I want to focus on is not traveling towards that front foot, staying back. On the document, I put maintaining over the rear leg, right? And let me show you the other loop here in 1 second, where it's a completely different story. This is 1 week later. I'll pull this one up, and the balance and the timing issues are completely gone. Same machine, same drill, and I think you're all over these baseballs. I'll play it through and then I'll break them down. Here you go. I love the athletic starting point right here. You kind of get down there, knees bent, right? Couple really good swings here. Right there's my favorite one. I'll play that one back in a second. You can tell even when the machine's giving you some problems, look how you're maintaining balance, right? You're not drifting forward. Even when you're early, you land your front foot early, you're not drifting over it, you're staying back. And this is great for any kind of off-speed practice. That one kind of got you there. But the one I really like right here, let me show you this one. This is probably my favorite swing that I have for you this month on film. And that machine, the timing can be a problem, but it's good practice for what we're going to see in a live at bat. First of all, the first thing that jumped out at me is look at the separation that you're getting, which I stay on you for a lot of the time. But look right here, right? If we're talking about separation, hands are back, could be back further, right? But they're getting there. We're getting better at this. Hands are back, front side stretching out. The distance that's covered here. That's really great. That's generating power, generating torque. I love the separation here. It's the first thing I noticed. But then I start seeing the balance, and there's no wonder why you square this thing up. So you start drifting a little bit over the front foot, but you stay back for the most part. Stay over that midline. Right here is a good place to be. Right here, down the middle, right back where it came from. One more time. Let me bring it back. Front side comes up, hands get back, maintaining balance. Plant the front foot, still drifting a little bit, but not terrible. Here come front foot lands, hips and hands. Come the hips. If you're looking at that back foot, you can tell you're using it, using the lower half right there, driving that back knee into that front knee. And what I like about this, which is a little different than the last videos, if I stop it at this frame right here, I like how this front leg is locked. I wish you're a little more closed off down here, but I like the almost the 90-degree in the back, right? I like how your hands are leading the way, right? Palm up, palm down here. Doing a decent job of seeing the ball straight down the arms here. Right, catching a middle pitch out in front, right back where it came from. A lot of good stuff in this clip. Definitely like this swing. Let's check the finish and the follow through. Pretty good stuff. You followed up with this swing right here. I'll play it through. And notice the adjustments here, right? Almost like you're recognizing the spin out of the hands here, right? Right here. This is my favorite part right here. Hard to see in slow motion, but you're ready to land. And look, all right? We talk about balance, that midline. Maintaining balance over the rear leg. Your foot's almost fully down and you're still over this backside here. This is a good place to be. And if I leave that line there and I let it play, there's a little hitch you have here. Where right here, you kind of catch yourself and you don't travel forward. I play it straight through and you'll notice almost like you saw spin out of the hand. You stay back right here, right there, right there. You start early and you catch yourself. Here we go. Bang, right there. Stay back, bang, hit. Really good timing. All your mechanisms are working. I'll play it one more time. When we talk about balance, this is what you do well. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, one of your better rounds. This series of swings right here, I'll play it through one more time. This is great stuff. And use that line as your rear leg in your hands. Watch it. So just to break it down for a second, let me clear my annotations. Okay. Going back to the dock. The back shoulder tilt, this piece right here, we'll talk in person a little bit more. I don't want to complicate it through a video. Maintaining balance over the rear leg, we just talked about with drawing that line. Getting the hands all the way back, maximizing separation, loading in the right places in that rear leg, keeping the head down like Arenado at contact, finishing through contact. And then the approach stuff right here, just to review it, and I know it's all review, but just to draw it on the diagram here. What we've been working on is breaking this plate down into thirds, hitting the ball where it's pitched, recognizing inner third here, catching it out in front, seeing it early, noticing that's going to stay inside, dropping the barrel out in front, shooting this to the left center gap, middle pitches, letting them get to the plate, not lunging for them, right back where they came from. Outer half pitches, seeing them a little bit deeper, being a little patient, right? And spraying the right field side. Overall, just living gap to gap here, hitting the ball where it's pitched with a good approach, left center field, right back where it came from, up the middle, and right center field gap. See the ball where it's pitched, attack it in these spots. Trying to look for a guy that you can kind of model after here. A guy with a similar load that I like is Manny Machado. Pretty big fan of his, but the load kind of similar to yours. Pick it up, put it down, let it drift a little bit forward. You know, looking at your swing versus his. Here's the separation piece. Front foot's about to land, right? Right there. Here comes the torque before he snaps off. His front side's going to lock. Watch that front leg. Hips and hands coming right here. Knob leading the way. Point of contact, 90-degree in the back, firm front leg. Extension, look at his extension. Palm up, palm down, all the way out in front. It's the point we want to get to. Big finish and follow through. Let me play it through one time. This is one of the swings that I like, not trying to do too much. Similar load to you. So if we're going to look at some guy and kind of model after him, this is one of the guys. Nice and level, doesn't drop his hands. Beautiful. All right, so I'll send this document over to you. Any questions you have, bring them in or send me an email if they can't wait. We'll continue to work on it. You know, I'm excited what you're gonna do this spring, and we'll get ready for the summer. Reach out to me with any questions, man. Keep up the hard work.